Hey everybody, my name is Robert D'Agostino, and today I'll be presenting on basic electrical safety. My table of contents, I'll be going over the introduction to basic electrical safety, electrical accident data, personal protection equipment, my display of tools, we're going over the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, safe practices, precaution, show you what my product was, my closing statement, and I'll wrap it all up in my conclusion. So first off, let's get into the introduction. Everyone should always know what they're working with when they're working with electricity. They should know if they're working with live wire, they should work if they're working with it off, they should know what voltage they're working on, they should know the amps that they're working on. Also, it can kill. Working on live wire and you touch it, there's a good chance if it crosses your heart, you're going to die. It only takes 1/4 of an amp, 0.25 of an amp, to kill you if it crosses the heart. Knowing safety rules can help you save your life and save the lives of others. If you're doing the right thing, if you're being a leader on the job site, if you're wearing your personal protection equipment, that'll encourage others around you to do what you're doing. Keep everybody safe on the workplace. Always use safe practices on the job, either if you're working in the shop, or working in the field, or working at home. Always wear the same stuff no matter where you work. Again, it only takes 1/4 of an amp to kill you. Always take precautions. Precautions simply can be wearing your personal protection equipment, making sure your tools are intact, and making sure you know what you're doing. Make sure you're wiring the correct wires to the right outlets. Always wear your PPE. Know the consequences if you fail to obey the rules. And again, my thesis statement is by knowing basic electrical safety, you'll be able to save lives and have valuable knowledge in the electrical field. So some data. Home electrical distribution and lighting systems are the 4th leading cause in home fires. And again, part of that reason is because it's one of the most dangerous fields. A lot of times when people are working with electrical wires, they don't know what they're working with, they don't know that something's live. A lot of times when you go to a third world country, you'll see that they don't know exactly what they're working with. Like there was a video on YouTube one time, a guy was walking on top of a train, he reached up and grabbed the chain wire, and it literally blew him up. It happens all the time here. U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission estimates that AFCIs, and AFCIs stand for arc fault circuit interrupters. What AFCIs do is that when the device senses that it will arc, it will trip the breaker, and it'll make sure that no more electricity gets sent through the AFCIs, which will save your lives. And again, if 50% of those people would have gotten those AFCIs, they would have prevented some of the fires. One of the main reasons why people don't go for the AFCIs, they'll just go for the regular outlets, is because AFCIs cost about $20, whereas the regular outlets cost only about $5. Again, the months with the most electrical fires is pretty simple. It's during the holiday times, during Christmas, when people are using all the heat, when people are overloading outlets, overloading extension cords. And again, most of these fires happen because homeowners are just overloading stuff and they don't know what they're working with. Here's some numbers to support my data. In the United States, over 50,000 fires each year are attributed to electrical failure, malfunction. That results in close to 500 deaths and over 1,000 injuries. That's pretty crazy if you think about it. 365 days in the year, there's 490 deaths. That's over average on one person dies every day due to mistakes, due to home fires. Again, about 3,300 residential fires originate in extension cords. Extension cords cost $10. Get them anywhere. You get them at Walmart, get them at Lowe's. A $10 mistake can save a life. Again, is $10 worth your life? Make sure that, again, it goes back to inspecting your equipment. And again, that also kills about 50 people and injures about 270 others. It's pretty crazy how $10, if you would have spent that $10, would have saved your life. It would have saved 50 people's lives and the injuries of 270 others. According to the U.S. Fire Administration, there are over 28,000 electrical fires per year, which results in over $1 billion in property damage, and again, another 310 deaths and about 1,100 injuries every year. Again, all that combined, you got a lot of deaths that are to happen every year due to electrical stuff. And most of the deaths that happen here, they can be prevented if you have the right equipment and you know what you're working with. PPE, right here I have some examples. This gentleman, they're all wearing their hard hats, they're all wearing their safety vest, and they're all got their tool bags on the proper locations, and they're all wearing the proper footwear. My PPE that I'll be going over today, you got your hard hat, you can adjust in the back, tighten it, loosen it. People have gotten fired by not wearing their hard hat on the job site, so it's taken very seriously. Employers don't play with this. Some of the other personal protection equipment, your safety glasses, you put them on. Quick story about how safety glasses save somebody's life is Mr. Borelli was the auto tech teacher here at Polytech. He was walking across the room in his shop one time and a battery exploded in his face. Luckily enough, he was wearing his safety glasses where the battery acid didn't come in his eyes, it just hit his safety glasses. Because of that, he regained all of his vision and he just had the raccoon-looking eyes on his face for a couple weeks. So that saved his vision. Again, safety glasses, save lives. Some of the other insulated tools here, notice on our drills, this handle right here, it's an insulator of electricity. So if I accidentally come in contact with a live wire, I will not get shocked nearly as bad as if I'm just touching it without the insulator on it. Again, when you're working with live wire, you want to make sure you're wearing your rubber gloves. Rubber gloves are another insulator of electricity. So when you're working on live voltage, make sure that your voltage for the gloves are rated for the amperage and the voltage that you're working on. Proper footwear that consists of boots. They don't have to be steel toe, they don't have to be composite, they just got to be enough to protect something from falling on them or you won't feel any injuries. No matter how low the voltage or the amperage is, always wear your PPE. Even if it's off, wear your PPE. Something could scratch in the eye, something could come and hit you above, you never know. Some of the tools, I've already gone over my hard hat, my safety glasses. Tape measure, we can use tape measure to adjust where the boxes are mounted. Make sure they're in the same mount and make sure they're all even. Use your tool, one of the tools here, it's a screwdriver. This is a little different, has multiple attachments, has the Phillips head, has the flathead. Take it apart, take it off here. I can even strip my wire with this. These are wire strippers. Strip the insulation off the Romex while using these. They're a good tool. You can also make your hooks to go around your devices. Device will go around the screws here. This right here is an 1800 box. I use these to mount it on here. These are the knockout tabs that you can knock out. Ground screws go in here, they screw in. That's what you put your copper wire around. These are some standard screws that we use to screw in the boxes onto the walls. You can screw them in anywhere, just make sure that they're big enough to go through what you need to go through them. These right here, you feed your Romex wire through them. You unscrew this, knock out a knockout tab, put it through here, and then you just go ahead and screw it in. Once that's in, you can feed the wire through here. And once it goes through, then you can desheathe the wire. This is what's known as a beater flathead screwdriver. It's known as a beater screwdriver because I would use these to knock out the tabs like this. Then I would take my lineman's, I would rip it off, put it right there, then again I could put this screw here and tighten it up. The reason why I would want to use this beater screwdriver is cost about $5. When I'm using this screwdriver, it costs about $20. These are meant to be beat on, these are meant to be used in the proper manner and not get abused. This is a cool feature, it's a magnetic level. Put this on a box, it doesn't fall. It's good when you're working on a job site, you can just leave it there, go grab another tool if it's hanging off, and you can tell if it's level at any point. These are wire nuts. You'd attach them to the 14T wire, and you make sure you can make your splices with them, you can make your pigtails. What a pigtail is when you have two or more wires together, you have a wire coming off that goes to a device. One of the tools I don't have in here is a hacksaw. Basically what you use a hacksaw for is to cut conduit. You want to be able to drill through conduit without the hacksaw, cut it down to pieces, use them through your 1800 boxes. Next thing I'd like to go over OSHA, which stands for, again, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. OSHA was started by the EPA on April 28, 1971. They started OSHA so they could regulate the rules, and they didn't just start OSHA for electrical, they started it for welding, they started it for restaurants, they started it for carpentry, for masonry, a whole bunch of different fields. OSHA is government funded and government regulated. They can fine you. One of the fines for OSHA is if they're on the job site and they catch you not wearing your safety glasses, that's a $7,500 fine. One quick story I have is Dollar General up in Middletown, Delaware a couple years ago. OSHA went through there and they cited them for over $500,000 in fines. Obviously the Dollar General didn't have enough money to pay that, so they went out of business. It's very serious. OSHA doesn't joke around. Some safe practices. Again, safe practices, wear your proper personal protection equipment. By you using safe practices and keeping everyone safe on the job site, you keep others safe by you doing the right thing. It's important to use safe practices for two reasons. Yet again, to keep yourself safe, to keep others safe around you. Again, if you're the leader of your team, it's your job as the leader to make sure everybody around you is doing what they need to do, because it all falls back on you in the end. Some precautions. Biggest precaution, it's probably known, was started up by OSHA. It's the lockout tagout. Quick story about how lockout tagout was so serious. A man that was working up at AIG Pond up north left a lockout and the tagout on his device on Friday. He went down on vacation that night all the way down to Florida. His employer had to call him up on the phone and say, hey, you need to come back and take off your lock and your tag or else you're going to be fired. It's that serious. If somebody goes to unlock your lock or they go to cut your lock, that's a prisonable offense. You can go to jail for that. Again, no one but you can unlock the device. And what lockout tagout is again, you can put a lock around a breaker and then you put a tag around it. You put your name, the date, the time, and the reason why you're locking that device out. Some other precautions: inspect your equipment. If I notice that this hammerhead is a little bit loose, I don't want to use it on the job and whack it, and then this hammerhead comes off and whacks somebody behind me. That'd be a bad day for that person. You definitely don't want to make sure that everything's secure. Again, you and your team have the right equipment for the job. One of the biggest things that people make the mistakes, they'll go an hour and a half to a job site, but they'll forget the tools back at their house. Don't be one of them people. That could also make you late to the job, and that could get you fired. Again, just make sure you're taking every precaution. 5 minutes checking over everything can save you your job. Here's my product. What I did, these are 6 1800 boxes, and this is 14-2 wire. This is the exact type of wire that I used. What it is, I had a single poles, which is right here. This controlled the lights on and off. Had a duplex receptacle, which here. And then right here, I had another duplex receptacle. Right there, these are my 3 light outlets. Again, you can unscrew and screw in your light bulb. Screw in. And then obviously it worked. This was the good project that I used. This one worked. For the bad project, this is how a regular homeowner would wire it. You notice right here, it's kind of hard to see, but this screw and this screw, they're not screwed in all the way. Even though this screw doesn't have a wire on it, they must be screwed down all the way. That's a code violation. You will fail inspection. Because another wire, if they catches that, that could cause the device to blow up and cause a fire. Right here, there are multiple violations. See all these knockout tabs? Don't knock out knockout tabs that you don't need to. It's just leading for more things to get inside your box that you don't need them to get into. Notice right here, this device right here, they're left open. You're supposed to tighten it so the wire doesn't move. That's the whole purpose of that device. Also, the sheathing right here, that's too much sheathing left inside the box. When all the wires in the box should be sheathed enough where it's right there, you shouldn't see any more sheathing. You just see the insulation on the wire. My closing statement: if you think it's expensive hiring a good electrician, try hiring a bad one. Again, what that means is that when we were wiring our house one time, we hired an electrician. His name was Don. What Don decided to do, when me and my father were replacing a 3-way in the utility room, he wired the attic lights, which are 2 stories above the utility room, he wired them into the utility room lights. So when we turned off the utility room lights, we thought the device was off. We didn't check it because, we failed to use a meter, which is what we were supposed to do. But when we went to touch the device with the screwdriver, the device literally blew up right in front of us and it had a little bit of a fire. It smoked a lot. So that goes back, if we would have hired a good electrician who would have labeled the breakers where he would have wired the devices at, we wouldn't have had that problem. It would have probably saved us about $20 to $30. And we're lucky that it was only 20 to 30 bucks, because again, the house could have burned down. Conclusion, all in all, by knowing basic electrical safety, you can save your life and the lives of others. Electricity can kill. Please don't play with it. If you have a question, ask. You'll never get fired for asking a question. And here, we're always encouraged to ask questions when we don't know a product. Mr. Post is always glad enough to explain the rules to us and explain why they're right. Always wear your PPE, whether we're working here in the shop, whether we're working at Shoreline Electrical, BW Electrical, or whether we're working at the house. Again, you can be fined by OSHA by not being safe on the job site, and if you get fined, that could lead to your employer firing you. Never play around with electricity. If you have a question, ask, do not guess. Is there any questions? There's my reference.